What is up? My name is Fleek, and I host a City Skylines city fixing video series focused on public transportation called Metro Anarchy, and I will throw a link to that up at the top of the video. This video is part of a set of short companion tutorials to go along with that series for those people who may not want to slog through whole episodes. In the first tutorial, we built a basic grid-based metro system using just the vanilla metro assets. You may want to check that out before watching this, so I will put a link to that here. In this tutorial, we are going to build the same grid-style metro system, but we will be using multi-track metro stations instead of the vanilla. Now, this is easier in some ways, but more challenging in others, and we will get into that in just a second. Before we get started, you know what's coming. Please, please, please take a second to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be alerted of new episodes. Alright, so here we are back in the city of Anarchia, the little grid-based city that I put together for these tutorials. Now, the assets that we are going to be using today you can find on the Steam Workshop. They are made by a user called JoeBoyBV, and if he ever has reason to see this video, I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks for making them. They are awesome assets, and I use them in just about every city that I build. Now, let's take a look at the individual assets real quick and familiarize you with them. Now, there are some single track assets, one here with diagonal track, and then another with a diagonal in the opposite direction. Then we have a single track station with the track parallel to the road, and a single track station with it perpendicular to the road. Then we get into the multi-track assets, and here we have two tracks crossing each other perpendicular. Then we've got two tracks parallel to each other and both parallel to the roadway. And we've got two tracks parallel to each other but perpendicular to the roadway. And then a 3-track option and a 4-track option. Now, why you might use any number of these single-track stations is that if you're building your metro system and it requires that your tunnel be coming from a certain direction, of course, the game requires that the metro stop itself, the actual entrance, is attached to a roadway, and this allows you then to manipulate where the tunnel is going to be relative to that entrance. So now you'll notice down at the bottom here we've got these L1, and then on the multi-track it's got L1 and L2. These are also built with differing levels. I only use the single level or the level 1 assets for my single tracks, and I use just the basic levels for the other ones as well, but they make differing levels. So also, if you are in a situation where your metro tunnel needs to be significantly lower, for as an example, if you have a road tunnel right next to where you want to put your metro station, it is nice to have these different levels. Now, the differing levels are: level 1 is 9 meters below the roadway, level 2 is 15 meters below, and then level 3 is 21 meters below. I find it pretty easy to use just the level 1 assets, so those are the only ones that I have loaded. If I ever run into a situation where I need one of the other ones, I just go ahead and subscribe to that. They also make on the multi-track stations, so this is one track at level 1 and the other at level 2. They also make one that has one track at level 1 and one track at level 3, and then a third that has one track at level 2 and one track at level 3. Again, I don't find too many instances where I need to use those, but just want to let you know that they are out there. Now, besides being handy just to have the multi-track metro stations and the single track stations with tracks facing in different directions, the other thing that's great about these assets is that you don't need any additional mods to use them. Now, there is a little trick to using them if you don't use any other mods, and we will cover that in just a couple of minutes. If you use mods and don't want to do the little rigmarole dance that I'm going to show you, which it is a little bit bothersome at times, the mod that you would want to use to place the metro lines and the stations is called Advanced Stop Selection. So take a look for that on the Steam Workshop. Otherwise, I will show you in just a bit how you can use these stations without having to use those. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it is a lot easier to build our grid-based system with these multi-track stations from one standpoint, and that is when it comes to our station mathematics. Anywhere where you have your lines crossing over on the grid, we can place a metro station because we've got the multi-track station. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to place our stations at each end, and then in the middle. And each of our grid points gets a station. And there you go. Whereas with the vanilla assets, we had to have 12 stations. Now, because we have just the 9 points, we have just those 9. So I will drop into a time lapse and get these tunnels built, and then we'll pop out the other side. So now that we have all of our tunnels built, we need to draw the metro lines, and this is where the little trick comes in handy. So let's go ahead and grab our metro line tool, and we're going to go ahead and draw in our metro line here as if we were drawing it normally. Now what will happen here is when you get to this station, you'll notice that I'm trying to place the stop on this track, but it is trying to force me to put it on the secondary track. Now, for whatever reason, the way these assets are built, you cannot put a second track on this track until you have a line running through this other track. So what I do is I go and complete this line, and now in order to have a line running through this track, we need to build a little dummy station out here. And then we go ahead and connect this up. And once that is connected, we can grab our metro line tool again and go ahead and put this line Now you'll notice here on this it's trying to do the same thing, so I'll have to come back and fix that at a later date once we get it all set up. Now it will let me put that station there and complete the line. Now we come back to this line, which was the one we were originally working on, and we grab that line on that side and drag a stop, and now it lets us put that second stop there. Now we need to get rid of our dummy station and tracks. Now in order to do that, you got to get rid of these 2 stations first by right-clicking on them. And then you grab this station and drag it up here. And now we are able to go ahead and bulldoze those assets out there. So now we have got our line all drawn in. Now, I don't think you want to watch me do all of these, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these up off camera, and then we will come back and extend the grid. All right, so now we have all of our metro lines drawn in, and I don't know if you could see it. Most of it had already happened off camera, but once I placed all of the metro lines, we had a bunch of level ups. There's another one down there. And I mentioned it last tutorial, but didn't really discuss it. Always remember that your metro has a great impact on helping your buildings level up. Oh, there's another one. I probably had about, I don't know, 50 to 75 buildings level up as soon as I turned on the metro lines. So now we've got it all built out and a much more efficient layout than the vanilla grid. Got the 9 metro stations and then just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metro lines instead of the multiple stations, same number of lines, but 3 fewer stations than with the vanilla assets. So let's go ahead and extend this grid. Also very easy. If we grab our roadways, and let's bring it out here to 8,000. Sorry, I'm bulldozing your homes. 8,000 here. And now I'll connect them up. Now we can come back and grab our two-track metro. I'm going to put them over here, make it a little bit easier to connect up. And just like last time, I did not quite the same distance because of the river here. Can't extend the grid quite as far. All right, there we go. We've got our tunnels all built, and now extending the lines is quite easy as well. You just grab the line, drag it down here, grab the line, drag it down, grab the line, and drag it down here. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and add in our last line here. Now, I'm not gonna bother going through and getting all the stations put in. With this, I just wanted to show again how easily scalable this is. As you add sections to your city, you just extend the grid out again. And now, like we did last time, let's say that we want to extend out this direction. Oh. And again, same process. We go ahead and grab our multi-track metro station. And there we go. We've got it extended here out to the east. So once again, just like last time, very, very easy to scale as your city grows. Let's go ahead and take a look. Number of riders already up to 900. Now, if you watched the vanilla assets tutorial, you'll remember that this number hovered just right around 800. So this is a little bit more efficient than the vanilla asset grid, because you've got these multi-track stations. Makes it just that much easier for people to use. And that will wrap up this tutorial on multi-track metro stations. Leave a comment below and let me know, which do you prefer, vanilla or multi-track stations? In the next tutorial, we will tackle another topic which is extremely important to building an efficient metro system, and that is how far apart should you place your stations. Too far apart and people will decide to drive, which can lead to traffic issues. Too close and you have additional expense that just isn't necessary. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time,
mind the gap